Everyone, I'm Chef Dennis, and welcome to Around the Kitchen Table. And no reporter today, although he was here last week doing some really cool stuff. And I'm going to say hi to Susan. Hi, Susan. How you doing?
I am doing just great, Chef. It is, the height of summer here, loving it. And, everything is great. Loving the air conditioning, loving the end of the day, going outside. It's terrific. It's terrific. And not only 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, I wish I could have shown you, it's upstairs. I got a delivery of my farm share thing that I do every week. Oh my gosh, 4 huge bags. I don't know what I think I ordered it late at night and I was thinking everything. So very exciting day.
Well, good. That means you got to get busy with vegetables, and you can always do a little mixture and roast them because they're just wonderful that way, whatever you got. So I'm sure you'll find some good things to do with them.
Yeah. So how are you? What's new with you?
I'm good. It's beautiful. I mean, that's like a broken record, but it's hot. Although things in perspective, this morning I'm watching Kelly and Mike, and somebody won a trip to Abu Dhabi. No, that wasn't Kelly and Mike. That was on the Today Show.
Wow.
Abu Dhabi.
I wonder what kind of food, they probably have everything.
But they showed the temperature, 118, 120.
Unbelievable.
Because I heard it and I said, I think that's the hottest place on earth right now. Yeah. And then they showed the temperature.
Rich over there. I bet they have air conditioning somehow within the air outside. I bet you they do. I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised, but you never know.
That's right. That's right.
We got a couple people saying hello. Peter Feltham's in the house, and I did put the link in the chat box for you. Peter Feltham's here.
Yes, I see. I'm all hooked up. I did it all by myself.
Michael Thomas is here, and Jim Sharp is here watching, and Coach Moore, I think, is here. Yeah, he's here.
So lovely to see everyone.
Yep. So everybody's here and ready, and today we're going to cook. I'm on this fish kick, as you can tell. I mean, everything, even on my blog, most of my posts have been fish because it's healthier to eat. I'm trying to keep my weight down, and I'm trying, to do away with as much of the red meat as I've been eating. Although last night we had this piece of pork that was fantastic, so I still get something in there every now and then.
Can I tell you just 30 seconds about pork?
Sure.
So what I did, I had these boneless pork chops I got, and I took them out, and I just didn't feel like having, seared pork chops. And I do the sous vide a lot, and I just didn't feel like that tonight. I said, you know what? I want it even easier than that. So I said, I wonder how they will be in the crock pot, cook them to death, like pulled pork, throw them in the crock pot. I had a herb mix, and not an herb mix, a seasoning mix, put it on it, whatever. 8 hours later on low, it was terrible. I mean,
really?
it was edible, but you know what? The texture, I mean, I could cook pork butt, which is shoulder, forever, and it's I don't know, there's something about doing pork chops. I don't know what other where the cuts are. It was dry, it was not stringy, it was terrible. I mean, it was tasty, but the texture was horrible.
I had the same problem when I did chicken a while back, and the thighs came out great because of the extra fat in them. But I don't think there's enough fat in the chops, the pork chops. Is probably what the problem is. You need that fat cap to be soaking into it to break it down and to keep it tender and to keep the consistency right. Otherwise, you're just steaming meat, and steaming it for that long is just never a good thing.
Yeah. So I learned my lesson,
But you don't know until you try.
I
thought. And you won't do it again. I'm sure it was edible and it was tasty, and it just wasn't. We hit those dinners every now and then too. I made cod for the first time the other night in ages, and it was pretty. It smelled really good, but it didn't have a lot of flavor. And I said, well, this is why we fry cod all the time, you know. It just baked, it just didn't have the flavor, so I have to work with that a little bit. And that might be a good fish for this, actually. The only thing that saved it was the remoulade I had made for the salmon cakes. We still had some, so that was delicious with the cod. So.
Oh, I bet. I bet that was great. Well, today we're doing a wonderful healthy meal. I really want to do this. Plus, I have a steam oven, and I bet I could adapt it there. But also in connection, I'll be doing a slideshow, which I've done before, but it bears repeating, on the healthy kitchen and how to design a healthy kitchen. So take us away, Chef.
Okay. This isn't going to take very long, actually. It's pretty simple to do. I'm using parchment paper. Let me change the cameras here so we can see. I'm using parchment paper, which you can buy by the roll. And actually, I buy it by the large roll at Costco because you go through it. It's about the same price as a small roll. And you just tear off a piece of parchment, and you're starting. Now, you just want a big enough piece because you're going to fold it over. So depending upon what you're putting in. Now, the whole trick to doing these packets is to cook in layers and to build up in layers. So we don't want to put the fish directly on the paper because, number one, it'll be hard to get off. The steam won't get under it to really cook it. So today I'm going to, and you can use a variety of different things, but today I'm going to use a little broccoli rabe because I'm going to put a little greens under it. Right about there. I got to try and figure out where I'm going to put it for the fold so I don't have to move it again. Right about there. And then I have a piece. We were going to do mahi, and when I went to get my fish out, I realized I didn't have mahi. I had red snapper, so I quickly changed it. So here's your red snapper, and it's going to go on top of the greens. Now we start with well, first I'm going to season it. And you do not have to use olive oil. I know someone put in the comments that it's great. You don't have to use any fats. That's true. You can just use wine, you could use stock, you could use water, but you want to get a little bit of liquid in it. And I'm just going to put a little bit of olive oil on the fish itself, and I'm going to season it with black pepper.
You know what that reminds me of? I have actually a high-end, not a snack bar type of a really good Greek restaurant in our town, and they do so much fish. They get it from the Fulton Fish Market in Brooklyn, or the Bronx, I think. And point is, they do the most wonderful versions of snapper, of red snapper. I can't remember what else, but anyway, point is, you know, it's extremely moist, lots of seasonings. They must put oregano, and so is there a version, like a Greek sort of version, you can do as well?
Oh, you can do anything with this. You know, this is a someone put down that it's a blank canvas. Think of your parchment as a blank canvas, and that was a perfect way to think of it because you can build anything you want on it, and you can use any ingredients. You just want to go by a few rules of thumb, and number one is the first step is build it up a little bit so it's not flat on the paper. Now you could put lemon down there. I'm putting green. I've never done it with greens before, so I have no idea how it's going to come out. But greens under it. You could put couscous under it. You could put a different grain under it. Okay, you just want to build it up so there's some air will get in, the steam will get in, and it'll cook from the bottom through too. So, you know, this is actually going to be a little bit of Mediterranean. You know, not the Greek side, but more the Italian side of what I'm doing today. But you could easily change it up with some of your favorite Greek items, and you could easily adapt it to the flavors and the seasonings that you want to use. I'm not using a lot of fresh herbs today, but you could. And it could go with dill, it could go with a fresh oregano. Actually, I was looking for marjoram. They didn't have any at the store. I was going to get some fresh marjoram to try. And oregano, for what I was doing today, was just going to be a little too heavy. Mm-hmm. And, marjoram, if you've never used it, is just kind of a oregano light. I like to think of it as. So.
Do you put some citrus in there as well?
Yes, yes, I am. You want an acid. So with the basic rules is you want aromatics. You want things that are going to give it some flavor, some odor, not odor, some distinct smells. Mm-hmm. And also the acid would be either balsamic vinegar, a wine, or lemon juice. Something in here that's going to help break it down a little bit too. So as we're building it we build up first, and I said we start with the aromatics. And the aromatics for me are going to be some olives. So here's, a little bit of your Greek right there. You could use Kalamata instead. Let me switch cameras.
No, okay. That looks great.
Some olives. We're going to do, I'm trying to remember what I put on. Well, I want to get a piece of garlic. I'm just going to slice that garlic down a little bit.
Now, I never heard of that, to raise up the fish. I think that's really, really interesting.
Yeah,
I would have thought that maybe you could just put a layer of oil below it and wouldn't stick, but there seems to be another reason to have it a little bit higher.
I think, like I said, I've never tried. Usually I put the lemon underneath or something else, or some, lentils or something, but this should work well. So now I'm putting on some fennel. So I've got olives, I've got garlic, I've got fennel.
Oh, nice.
Now here's some capers. Here's another nice aromatic.
I think we should be filming from the south of France.
And we've got some scallions. I don't want to, you could use onions, and I was going to caramelize some leeks and put some caramelized leeks on it. But I had the scallions, so I thought, well, let me use them. And then again, I want to get some color in here. You could put tomatoes in if you wanted to, but I've just got some pepper, some little red and yellow pepper juliennes. All right, now I'm going to add a little bit of mushroom, and I'm actually going to put this on the side. So this is going to be a little add-on, a little treat.
That looks fantastic.
We're just going to put a little mushroom on the side. Now I've got a little bit of the fennel leaf. That's my seasoning. A little bit of parsley. And now I'm going to layer in 2 lemon slices and hit it with just a little bit more oil. A little more parsley. Okay, and that's basically it. Now again, you can build this any way you want. Raise it up, layer it, put the fish down, and if you want to use mahi, it's going to be a firm white flesh fish. I don't know how something like tuna or swordfish would work in this. It might dry out too much because you want the fish to have some kind of fat. This would work well with salmon. This would work well, with some other varieties of fish. I'm trying to think. Grouper would work good.
Chef, in my local fish store, I saw halibut.
Halibut would be wonderful.
Okay.
Halibut's expensive though, so halibut, I may more try to simply prepare that because halibut's getting up in the high end of cost of fish. So I might just pan-sear that, but you could definitely do halibut. But grouper would be real good.
Would you do it with salmon?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely salmon. Salmon, mahi, grouper, snapper. Those are some of the better fishes. It would probably work with cod. Cod's not very fat, so I might add a little bit more oil to it. So this is it, though. That's all she wrote. Now, you'll see if you Google recipes, what you'll see is everybody says, cut your paper into a heart-sized shape. Well, I think I failed that part of kindergarten. So we're just going with a square, and we're gonna hope for the best. So what I'm going to do now is I'm folding it over. I've got room. You don't want it to be wrapped tight like a present. You want to leave some room for air. So I've got it here. Now I'm just going to start my folds, and I'm going to try and crease them a little as I go to help keep them sealed. I'm actually going to do 2 folds here.
Interesting. The image on my computer with the food can is frozen. I don't know if
it's frozen.
Anyone else? It's frozen.
It's moving on both of mine. Guys, are you seeing this good or? Yeah, I'm moving on both of my computers, so hopefully.
Okay. Maybe it's just me.
Hopefully it's working. Well, we'll see. Could just be the wonder of Google again. All right, so once we've got this done, all right, then you're going to fold the edges in. And then these I start to fold a little bit like a present, and then I'm just going to roll them, fold them a little bit.
So is it tighter or looser?
It's a loose fold.
Okay.
I mean, I'm I'm creasing. I'm doing the best I can to crease these so they stay connected. But on the edges here, once I've got them tucked in tight, because you want a nice tight seal. Then I'm folding in the corners like I would do a present to make that like little boat kind of thing when you made paper boats. And then from there, now
you could always put some twine around it, couldn't you?
What's that?
But you could always put some twine, string, a little bit of twine.
You know, I think twine would probably be a little overkill, but was thinking of using a stapler.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
I thought maybe a stapler would work too. Although, you know, for presentation-wise, bringing it out to your guests with a couple of staples in it, if it's just you and your husband, or with me and Lisa, it's okay. But you know, if you're thinking about
need an 8-year-old who does origami.
Yeah, but this is holding together pretty well. It's staying fairly well closed, and that's basically it. And it's done. And at this point, I'm going to put it on a baking sheet and put it in the oven, a 425-degree oven, and it's going to take about 15 to 18 minutes. Good indicator is usually when the paper has gotten nice and brown, golden brown, and it'll puff up a little bit too. And
I'm sorry, I missed the degrees. Did you say the degrees?
Yeah, 425.
425. Wow.
Hot. Because you're steaming. So it's going to take a little less time probably than normal, but you're going to steam it through the paper. Okay. All right, so if you have that slideshow, and then I'll pull the fish I have out in a little bit.
I sure do. So let me go over to screen share and
just dance by in the back.
Let's see. Yep, that's right. I'm not. Oh, this is funny. I'm not finding the. I'm not finding my my tab. Let's see. No, I don't see my. Oh, I don't see my tab, Chef. I don't see it like I did, like I usually do.
Well, I have the fish ready.
I do have a tab open. You know what? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to talk through my images, and then I will put a link up to it later. So let me talk through a few images, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'll just talk about it. So can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, great. So, you know, I was inspired by this healthy this healthy meal that Chef is making, to think about the healthy kitchen in terms of healthy kitchen design. And there are, a great number of ways that you can achieve a really healthy kitchen as opposed to an unhealthy kitchen. And yes, there really are concrete ways you can do that. The first is with ventilation. Ventilation is extremely important. It takes out the toxins from the kitchen, but not only that, I know in one of my old houses when we first bought it, I would put my fingernail on a cabinet door, and then I would get something under my fingernail, and that is because ventilation was not used in the kitchen. So in addition, these toxins, smoke, they settle on all of your surfaces. So that's not healthy. You want to get them out, but you want a good, solid ventilation method of ventilation. There are several parts to it. You have the canopy, which is the hood that you typically see. That's its own function, to capture the fumes and the toxins. And then you need an effective motor, which will relate to the type of cooktop you have. It will also relate to how far away you are from the ductwork, how far the ductwork is away. And ideally, you want the ductwork to go to vent to the outside of the house. Absolutely the best way. So the length of the ducting, the number of corners and turns you have in the ducting, the what's called the CFM of the motor of the vent, and in accompanied with the shape and size and depth of the hood. That will all help you Get those toxins out, off of your cooktop. Now, there are some modern, quite a few modern hoods that actually, from time to time, periodically, take in just regular room air to kind of exchange the air in the home. So that can be another helpful. I'm not explaining it properly, but
well, in a professional kitchen, we have air exchangers, and part of the big thing is that they're not just pulling out air; they're bringing fresh air in from outside too.
Yeah, there absolutely is new technology in home residential venting that is worth looking into, and good lighting in a vent is good too. I'll tell you. Yeah, one thing I don't like is the microwave or the microwaves over the hoods. Now, in some cases, you need it in a small kitchen, and it's better than nothing. Let's put it that way. But when you consider that they can be dangerous to use because maybe you have items that are cooking below on the cooktop level, and you're reaching up to the microwave level, so that can be dangerous. In addition, usually they're a little bit on the high side, so putting in and taking out items from a hot microwave oven is also dangerous.
Yeah.
And the third part that the reason I don't care for them is that they are shallow. They are about 12 inches deep, and they will simply not take the venting from your front burners. So everything you can't have it all with a microwave, unfortunately. Sorry to tell you.
No, you know, it's people put them in there. Designers put them in there because they think they look good. They're taking up space. They're giving you an extra item in the kitchen. But and you know, and some people use the microwave more than the stove, so that's okay. But if you're using your stove and the microwave's there for occasional use, then you really need a good venting in there.
You really do. I mean, let me tell you, it's the most boring thing in the world to think about and specify for most homeowners. But I'll also tell you there are wonderful, wonderful shapes. You can have the most exciting, shape and color, and you can make it a focal point of your kitchen. Mm-hmm. So do that. Also, one thing I want to mention about venting, another thing is downdrafts. Downdrafts used to come up about 6 or 8 inches. Now they're coming up between probably 12 and 15 inches high. I just got a new downdraft as part of my new kitchen, which isn't in yet, but I'm shocked at how it looks like I've been looking at it, virtually all the fumes. So today's downdrafts are much better than they've ever been. And that opens it up for lots of aesthetic, options if you don't want a big hood. So I would tell you to, consider that. Also, the countertop is really something, you want your countertop as clutter-free as possible, because that's for all kinds of things. And I will bet, if you tell me the truth, I will bet there are some of you who take these sponges to clean your countertops with, and you clean it around your bigger items, and you don't have to tell me the truth, but I know there are some of you who do that. So if you keep most of the things off of your and okay, I'm guilty as well. If you take most of the things off of the countertop, it will be cleaner. And then put some shelves above, it'll be cleaner. So that's also a thought.
I do that, and I usually don't clean behind until I use the big item that's on there, and I pull it out, then I see what's behind it.
I know it because I have a camera installed in your kitchen, so I know it. I've seen it.
Well, the fish is done.
Yeah. What's also exciting these days is there's one brand, which is Gaggenau. I'm not sure that there's another one, but they're ovens. They do not have handles. So what they do is they're handleless. You know, there are pros and cons, but there's a tiny spot, there's a very small spot that you simply touch and the door opens automatically. So your hand is not all over everything. Although if you do look for a new oven, look for a very streamlined handle to open up, and that's easy to clean.
I think we need to get some of the Ford technology involved in ovens, so you just use your knee and it comes down or something, or put a, you know, like they have with the tailgates now where they open for you without your hands.
How about a foot pedal?
Yeah, there you go. That would be something.
That looks. Yep, and steam ovens, steam ovens. Talk about a healthy kitchen. Steam ovens are absolutely where it's at, and I'm sure I have one, and I'm sure I can adapt your recipe in the steam oven, and I'm going to try to do that. So you know what? This is such a huge topic on the healthy kitchen. I have so much more to talk about, but you know what? I think I'm going to stop for now and then pick it up next time or the time after.
Sounds good. Now here is the fish. Came out of the oven. And you can see a little browning around the edges, so that shows you that it's done. Now, it did sit for a while, because when it first comes out of the oven and you plate it like this and you let your guest open it, the aromatics and the steam are going to really hit you.
And you know, now I can see it. Now it's live for me. Oh, that looks fantastic. Okay. Wow. Now, tell me about the broth that's inside. Were you able to capture that?
There's not going to be much broth because I did not put any real amount of liquid in here, and that would you wanted the steam with its natural juices. You want a little bit of broth in there, or a little bit of liquid in there, but you want the fish juices to steam and everything else to steam. And so, you know, you're not adding. There's not like there's going to be a sauce. It's just going to be very moist. It's going to be very tender. You know, you could squeeze this lemon over it, but I mean, I will move just some of this so you can see.
I guess my question is, does it? My guess is it will produce some juices. Not that you put a broth in there, but that it will produce a broth. And does that broth evaporate in the cooking, or can you sort of pour it on the dish?
No, you can't. There's not going to be that much broth to pour.
Okay.
It's not so much as it's going to evaporate as the steam. Like you can see the condensation on the paper where it got wet from the steam. But it'll all be just everything. The mushrooms cooked well. Broccoli rabe.
Wow. It looks tasty. All those things make it tasty. And that's what I think you need.
The broccoli rabe.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh, no, this is really good. Break off a little piece of fish. You can see the fish just got a nice, very moist.
And you know what? When you add the colors and the textures and you know, the multiple ingredients on there, it makes it so palatable.
Yeah, it is just.
That looks great. That looks terrific. We have a few questions.
Sure.
Okay. So MJJ Namal is asking, can we use a natural leaf, such as a banana leaf, instead of parchment paper?
MJ, I've never cooked with that, but you probably could. I know there's some cultures that steam in the banana leaf, so I would say why not? I know a lot of times they use that when they're grilling, like outdoor on. I've seen people use them in coals, you know, when they're doing stuff on a barbecue grill. So. Yeah,
my daughter-in-law is spent part of her life in Costa Rica, where her grandparents are, and they're also Chinese. So I don't know if this is the Chinese or the Latin part, but they make, oh, I forget what you call it, but they make these things, and they're in leaves. I should ask her, and I think they're seeds also, so I should ask her what they are. We also have from Chiang Divinia, which apologies if I said it wrong. says, if I put wine or water at the paper to make a sauce, will the wine or water come out from the bag? And will this go well with couscous?
It will work good with couscous, and you don't want to use very much wine or water. It's a very small amount because it's going to just make the bag wet. It's not going to steam properly. You're liable to end up getting it broken down. So the amount of liquid you put in is minimal. It's like a tablespoon. And if you use couscous, the couscous should already be pretty much cooked. You want whatever you're putting in the bottom to be kind of al dente. If you make anything a grain almost done, like rice, almost done, you know, that kind of a thing, and let it finish that way.
Mm-hmm. And our friend Coach G. Moore is asking, do you serve it in the paper?
You can. That's part of the fun, is putting the paper. But you can also give it to your, you know, let your guests kind of take a knife and bring it onto the plate off of the paper. It's easy to do too. But part of the fun is giving them that hot out of the oven packet, cracking it in front of them, and letting the smells come up.
Oh, I agree with that totally. I think that's a great way to serve it. I think that's great. You are loving that, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
I see. You know, you are munching away, which you don't usually do. You are loving that.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
What is it? Is there any one particular ingredient that you like about it? Is it the herbs? Is it the?
Well, I'll tell you, underneath the broccoli, Rob, with all the juices working through to cook it, it's ugly, it's dark, but it's delicious.
Wow. Mm. I was wondering, because broccoli Rob can be a little bitter, right? So
it is a little bitter, but the other flavors, the saltiness, like of the olives and the capers, have dripped down into it along with the fish and the other aromatics, and it's wonderful.
Wow. That sounds great. Now, let me ask you, okay, you know, typical fish that's in every town, like flounder or sole, what do you think?
I think it might be a little too thin.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
A little too delicate.
Okay.
I really don't think, now if I was going to steam it, I would probably stuff it and roll it.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That you could probably do it that way, but I would put something in the center of it and roll it tight, and then maybe put 2 little rolls on top of some grains or some greens or something, and finish it that way.
That makes sense. Well, this is such a perfect week, and again, easy weeknight,
yeah.
Or for company on the weekend.
And you could actually make these packets ahead of time, put them in the refrigerator, you know, when you get home at night, pop them in the oven. Or cut all your prep, you know, do all your prep ahead of time and have it ready and just put them together however you want to do it. So.
Yeah, that's terrific. Well, thanks for another terrific, easy, exciting meal.
Very good. I'm happy.
I know you are.
Yeah, it's amazing how someone who never ate fish starts to just really look forward to fish and fruit and vegetables. I mean, I'm a changed person. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'll get that too, because I'm getting this, farm share fruits and vegetables, delivered every week, and I am experimenting. And you know what? I think it's important to I figured, let me just be surprised and then get out of my rut of my typical fruits and vegetables. And so that is what's happening, and I think that keeps, cooking and eating interesting.
Well, I'm waiting for the new orange season to start, because I've been missing my local oranges like crazy, and I refuse to buy California oranges right now, because I'll just take the 2 months off when they don't grow.
Right.
But I found some great new juices. We have a juice company down in Winter Haven that I'm working with now called Noble Pride, and oh my God, they have tangerine juice that is just...
Oh, I love tangerine. We always buy tangerines.
Oh, with the juices. They have clementine juice, and that's a little bit more sour. It's very good too, but the tangerine juice is just, they sell single-serving bottles, but my single-serving bottle is a quart. So.
Wow. Wow. That sounds so great. I love it.
All right. Well, that's it for me today and around the kitchen table, and we'll be back next week. And for those of you that are watching, I'm going over to Blab now at 1 o'clock, and I'm going to repeat this and do it there to see what comes in. And Susan and I may be showing up on there every now and then, trying the show out there to see how the engagement is too. It's a new media. Not that we're giving up on Google Plus. Don't worry about that. It's something new to try, and we'll still be uploading. But it's really easy to watch. And then some of you could just jump in with us too, a lot easier, and come in for a few minutes and ask questions live and say hello. So that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah, that sounds great.
All right. Well, have a great week, and we'll see you around the kitchen table next week.
Bye-bye, everyone.